Oh, you think I'm joking? You think I'm fucking joking? Oh no, this is real. This is absolutely real. Canadians, do you want to join Canada's newest political party? Why not vote for door number 3? This election cycle, Canadians are going to get to vote on their favorite person that got us into the mess in the first place. And absolutely none of them have a solution to get us out. While the remaining parties of Canada, both in the opposition and in the leading government, the Liberals, have been running the country into the ground, the Disney party has been planning a balanced budget since May. And it's a budget that makes sense, but it is the balanced budget that is going to require that everyone gives something first. No one gets anything unless people are willing to make compromises. So, it is a federal regulation in Canada that your platform and your policy be published. Therefore, I have created a Discord server for this new political party, because this Discord server is going to act as the framework for the negotiations on the terms that I've set. I'm going to go through everything in the list and read all of the policies in order so that you will understand how I have been interpreting this in my mind for the last 5 months. Because if you follow each one of these steps and you follow them in order, the plan will work. But the plan fails if any one of these steps along the way doesn't work. Which means this is the balanced budget. It will get Canadians what you need and want, but you are going to have to make compromises and sacrifices. I'm not asking you to sacrifice your home. I'm not asking you to sacrifice your food supply. I'm asking for reasonable compromises. And these reasonable compromises, if they're too unreasonable for you to budge, then Canada, do you want to win a trade war or not? Because the only alternative is bankruptcy. So, if the Disney Party platform was to be implemented, it would work. And I'll tell you why. We have in Canada a federally regulated party known as the Pirate Party of Canada. This is the only party in our country that has ever advocated or done anything for technology and innovation. This party had advocated for Bitcoin regulations and other things in the past that never really got through, and they didn't have any significance or weight behind their message. This election cycle, the Pirate Party of Canada will be converting into the Disney Party of Canada, and we are asking for support from anyone on both sides of the aisle who will adopt this platform. And when they hear the platform, they'll understand why it makes sense, but they'll also understand that they're going to have to sacrifice something too. Because if we can't get what people want, then this election cycle, Canadians are going to vote on whether or not you want prosperity and economic growth or World War III over land and resources. It's that simple. There's no door number 3. So, why am I so bold, and why have I been so bold since May, despite all of the concern from all of my friends and family that think this is crazy psycho talk, is because they didn't know the full step-by-step process that I've outlined now. I've outlined the first 50 proposals of the Disney Party, and I have hundreds more that I'm still working through. But these 50 proposals took like 8 hours of writing and thinking. So these proposals will grow over time because this is the negotiation budget. It is the balanced negotiation budget for the year, and it will get Canadians everything we want. Starting at the top. If you elect the Disney Party of Canada to lead this country, we will bring economic growth and prosperity into the country following a multi-stage platform of development and plans. Policy step number 1. The Disney Party of Canada will issue orders in a council to the clerk of the Privy Council and His Majesty the King that Tamara Lich, Pat King, and every last political prisoner from COVID-era lockdown policy in this country be immediately released from prison because these fine citizens of our country were the only ones paying attention in 2022 to the economy, and when they tried to warn us all that this was coming. They tried to warn us all this was coming, and you turned them into criminals. Any and all criminal records will be removed and erased. These are not criminals, these are whistleblowers, these are canaries in the coal mine. Because these citizens were beaten, tortured, stolen from, and incarcerated in our country for the crime of conducting business. If Canadians want to learn why the economy is broken and the business is moving down south, look in the mirror. Look in the freaking mirror. Policy platform number 2. The Disney Party will further issue orders in council to the clerk of the Privy Council and His Majesty the King that the liberally appointed justice sitting on the court of the King's Bench in Calgary, Alberta, be immediately impeached, removed from the bench, and have all licenses removed. They will never work in law again because this justice excused the crimes of Timothy Peterson, an Ontario-born citizen who came to our province in Alberta for a job opportunity at the Lake Louise Ski Resort, and on the 3rd of July 2023 destroyed $40 million worth of infrastructure when he lit the Charleston residence on fire. This 100,000 square foot log cabin represented what used to be the world's largest log cabin structure. The Lake Louise fire on the 3rd of July nearly bankrupted one of Canada's premier ski resorts. It displaced 165 workers, including many from other countries. The building burned for 5 days and 5 nights, and it was an international news story in 3 countries. I had friends that nearly died in this building. Everyone lost everything but the clothes on their back, and a few cats died. And if that's this justice's idea of a fair trial, that Timothy Peterson be granted pardon for his crime, then we don't have law and order anymore in this country. This man destroyed a $40 million building, and the justice just cleared his... Here you go, free government-sponsored therapy for life, and you're free to go. If you wonder why there's an infrastructure problem in the country, and all of the news is talking about building infrastructure, maybe you should start with the Lake Louise Ski Resort that was screwed by this Ontario man. Policy position number 3. Canada is in no position to negotiate trade deals with America right now. It is because no one in Canada understands value proposition. The budget is an investment, not a handout. While politicians on both sides of the aisle think the budget is a bidding war over who has the coolest social club, it's not. In order to get money from your investment from outside this country, you will need to do something for America first, without asking for more money. Because our Prime Minister is a homeless man meandering the planet asking for handouts. He thinks other countries are going to give us money when we're not providing them anything at all of value, because we're only building out our resources. And I got a hint for you. Trees exist everywhere on this planet. Americans don't want our lumber industry, because it's cheaper to get it from somewhere else overseas and ship it to America because of our freaking tax code up here. It needs to change, or we are going to be the next Venezuela. So, therefore, the Disney Party of Canada will negotiate on behalf of Bob Iger and the Disney Corporation with the Governor of the State of California, Gavin Newsom. Canada will strike a trade deal with Gavin Newsom for similar tax incentive structure on their California-based theme park that they have for the Disney World location located to the east in Florida. Newsom will agree to these terms even if it means a momentary and temporary loss of tax revenue to his state, because Canada will be providing so much ridiculously profitable incentive to Disney that they would be fools to say no. As Canada will be providing Disney with their next 100 plus years of, what does Disney sell? This isn't rocket science. Stories. Disney sells stories. Canada, why aren't you marketing trade negotiations with your closest trading partner? Stories. It's clear Disney lacks new stories, and fans are tired of seeing remake after remake after remake of the same cartoons we watched as children 30 years ago. Yet, Disney has never once thought to capitalize on a single Canadian story. Hashtag elbows up. And Canada's number one asset in our country is our Indigenous. They love telling stories. They practically never shut up about it. And they will tell you stories all day and night until your brain explodes. You'll never run out of movie ideas again. Canada will also build the infrastructure and support service to service Disney's very first ski resort. Something they've always wanted but could never realistically attain because of government regulation and financing issues. If Disney wants a ski resort, they don't have to build it from scratch, which is practically impossible now. We have a ski resort right here that is operational and ready to go at your service. Only 75 million US dollars. Welcome to the liquidation of Canada, folks. Policy position number 4. The Disney company will acquire the Lake Louise ski resort from Charlie Locke. He will agree to sell his failing ski resort to Disney because if the country is worth nothing, his business is worth nothing. The Lake Louise ski resort has had a history of financial mismanagement. This company nearly went bankrupt in 2001. It was only just starting to turn a profit in 2023 after years of financial difficulty, and when the fire Timothy set on the 3rd of July destroyed everything again, including $2 million worth of servers they had in the basement, it looked as though a bomb had been dropped from the sky on this building. Just last year, the CFO of this company was in prison for committing nearly $1 million worth of tax fraud. And the ski resort is already underdeveloped for an expansion, but without a billion-dollar IP attached to any of its lifts, it's not going to attract American investment up here. And then I've got a link to these articles. You can read them. If, however, the Disney Corporation ran the ski resort, hello, Canadians, wake up. This is a negotiation. If you want a trade deal with America, you don't have to ask. You tell him what we're doing. Art of the deal, this is how we set our terms so that we don't get screwed by a, God forbid, filthy American corporation. Canada will impose a series of non-negotiable terms that are included in this package deal. You will either get everything or you will get nothing. Therefore, 5% of our budget has necessarily baked in what Americans consider handouts. Because Canadian citizens will not vote for a policy, platform, or budget that supports or profits a God forbid American company and allows them to do business in our nation unless we do something too. Absolutely zero layoffs. Disney's acquisition of Ski Louise will change nothing about how it is managed or structured because the ski resort is functional, it is maintained, but it needs more incentive for tourists. The ski resort offers both summer and winter activity fun. Disney can offer skiing in the winter and nature hikes and canoeing trips in the summer. This would allow Disney to spend 6 months doing renovation on the currently existing infrastructure, and it will be operational by next Christmas. Policy position number 5. 165 million US dollars of the federal budget will be allocated into compensation and replacement of personal items that were destroyed in the fire on the 3rd of July. That is $1 million per victim. Richard Berkeley, the CEO of this company, stood in front of a crowd of over 200 people, and we were bawling our eyes out on the night of July 3rd, 2023. This man pledged that we would be properly compensated for, but the reason, right, we were properly compensated for, outside of just a few $100s each victim received from a GoFundMe campaign, we all got nothing. The reason the ski resort has no money is because our country has no money. If the Canadian taxpayer won't support giving money to victims, perhaps they should be more upset that the CFO of this company ran it into the ground. That's the reason they're broke in the first place. This is a non-negotiable term. It does, however, have value structure baked in. The employees of the ski resort love working out here. but we were royally fucked by this one company. Most are foreign workers from other countries within the Crown, Australia, New Zealand, Great Britain, Philippines, who used to work here and contribute to our economy, but they went home after 2 months of waiting for passport replacement because there wasn't enough infrastructure to keep them here. We had to build slums in the parking lot for everyone. They may consider, however, returning to the ski resort. They may consider returning, however, as this ski resort will need to triple the staff over time to support it. They will, however, not be expected to return. Zero strings attached. We will not allow the Disney Corporation to use this as a bargaining chip for their employment. Whether they ever want to work in a ski resort again or not, they will be compensated. And, as I said, this is the budget you're not going to like because it's going to ask and demand of things you don't want, but it's going to give you everything you need and everything you do want. This is the balanced budget of 2025 that gives everybody what they want and need, but you're going to have to make some sacrifices first. Policy position number 6. The Disney Corporation will be expected to donate $40 million to bolstering our food banks in Canada because Canadian workers will be the ones constructing their new development projects. But we can't work because our country has starved us and our food banks are collapsing overnight. That term is non-negotiable, which is why it is baked into the 5% of handouts in our budget. And if 5% of handouts to America is too much of an ask for them to accept any of our terms, then they don't get their ski resort in our Rockies. Because this is the budget that is going to ask things that you don't want, but it will give you everything that you need. This term is non-negotiable. We can't work if we're hungry. And so Americans will have to accept that they're giving 5% of handout to Canadians, because nobody else in Canada will agree to anything on this list without the handouts baked in, because I've baked them into the budget to ensure that nobody could possibly deny this budget, lest they be a psychopath. Hashtag elbows up. Welcome to the everyone sets their own budget. The Disney Party of Canada has spent 6 months strategizing a platform of proposals that will get everyone to cooperate with each other or no one. And Canadians will get to vote this Christmas whether they want the next Great Depression and World War III over land and resources or a fucking Disneyland. God forbid an American company do business here. There is no door number 3. If there is a door number 3, you tell me, because I'm the one with the ideas. Policy position number 7. The Disney Party of Canada will negotiate similar tax incentive structure on the land and utilities for the Disney ski resort in Lake Louise with Bow Valley. Similar tax incentives to the parks in California and out in Florida. Because absolutely no one on this planet seems to understand the monumental weight, power, and significance of this company. When interviewing Americans for this project, they said, and I quote, "I don't think one Disney in Canada will help your problems. It only accounts for 10% of our tourism economy." That 10% is calculated, remember when I said Canadians are allergic to math? That 10% is calculated from the revenue generated directly from the park. $100+ ticket fees and $60 plushies in the gift shop. They aren't thinking about every last business within a 300-mile radius that benefits too. Every single hotel, restaurant, McDonald's, Walmart, taxi, Uber, bus line, bed and breakfast, and anything else that exists near a Disneyland park. When accounting for the entire tourism sector, Disney likely helps bolster closer to 80 or 90% of their tourism sector, and Canadians don't get it either, as Canadians don't liquidate our bank accounts for a trip to the San Diego Zoo. But they will visit on day 3 of this isn't rocket science, people, the family Disney vacation. The family Disney vacation. The McDonald's in the area in and around a theme park likely rank among the highest grossing locations in the entire franchise, and there is a McDonald's in the town of Canmore and Banff nearby. When the first Disneyland park was built in LA, no one had any idea what it would become. Recognizing that other businesses nearby benefited from the park's location is the reason why Florida targeted Disneyland with lucrative tax structures in the first place. Y'all are upset and you're angry at Disney because they went woke. Do you want a Disneyland or do you want a war? Because it's that simple. There's no door number 3. So, where was I? Easily offset the economy. Yes, it would be obvious to do so because any lost tax dollar revenue is easily offset by the growth of the economy nearby. If Canadians got on board with this plan that would be developed over the course of the past 6 months, this plan has been developed for 6 months by broke-ass college students who are homeless and unemployed. Canada will fulfill upon Walt Disney's original vision of Epcot. Does anyone know what Epcot stands for? Anyone at all? Anyone at all? Does anyone know anything about the history of this company? Epcot stands for the Experimental Prototype City of Tomorrowland. And Canada's vision for our 2025 to 2035 moonshot development project will turn the entire province of Alberta into the world's very first achievable Epcot. Also note, Canada won't just be building one singular Disneyland park, but there will be attractions and theme park development across this nation coast to coast. The Disney Party of Canada will negotiate with party opposition at the federal level as well as Danielle Smith, the Premier of Alberta, to grant the Siksika tribe in Alberta full and unrestricted access back to their territory. As it stands now, the Siksika are on good terms with the provincial government, who want to help these people, but are unable to do so because the land ownership, they're being controlled at the federal level. They've had their hands tied up with red tape. Justin Trudeau promised running water to these people for 10 years, and they live in slums. We live in Canada, for fuck's sakes. And we can't service our own citizens with running water. Canada, if you want proof we live in the USSR levels of infrastructure collapse, look around. A single water pipeline burst in the city of Calgary last summer, and the entire city was without water for a month. Additionally, one singular traffic accident on the eastern side of Stony Trail had cars backed up for 30 kilometers, driving 4 lanes of traffic on a 2-lane highway, because they were driving on both sides of the curb as well, and it prevented workers from commuting for over 9 hours. But Canada will not be doing anything at all for our Indigenous until they drop any and all grievances at the court over ownership of land immediately. Policy position number 9. The Disney Party of Canada will issue orders in council to the clerk of the Privy Council and His Majesty the King, I can't even pronounce that, the Cowichan court ruling that has caused many uncertainty over the value of property all over this great nation be implemented and struck down. The justice on the bench who implemented this particular law will be immediately impeached and or imprisoned. I'm not fucking joking. They will have any and all licenses revoked and will never work in law again. Because this justice has just enshrined into law an idea that is so suicidally stupid it would cause the value of property everywhere in this country to go to zero. Zero! Because no one on this planet is going to want to own property they purchase but don't actually own. Canadians, do you want your house to be worth nothing? Do you want your house to be worth nothing? Vote for the Disney Party and we'll have the budget balanced by New Year's. If the Crown wants to do something for the Indigenous that actually matters, instead of signaling virtue, they will adhere to our policy. As the Disney Corporation will be expected to donate. The Disney Corporation will donate $50 million worth of development for the Siksika tribe. They will be properly serviced and they will have livable housing. And it won't cost taxpayer money. That is part of the handout budget. And yes, it will be a donation. But Disney and Trump will agree to this because our federal government has been robbing the citizens of our nation to give money to the Indigenous a goodwill gesture over grievances from the past. Some of the people abused are still alive. This is real. This is traumatizing to them. This is not something that happened 250 years ago like the grievance politics in America over slavery. It's different. The reason Disney in America will be expected to comply on these terms is because 90% of the Canadian tax dollars gifted for free to these people has gone into purchasing American manufactured trucks and drugs from China. And our automobile factories just got fucked by his tariffs. So that's on Mr. Trump. That one's on him. These citizens will be temporarily housed and fed at Disney's expense while the construction is ongoing. This will get them the water that Trudeau promised but never delivered on. And when the new Disneyland park opens, we will erect a monument in the park to the Honorable Justin Trudeau. Yes, I know it's wild. It's a crazy idea. But because while he may have failed the entire country for the past 10 years, Justin Trudeau's monumental screw-ups are the only reason a policy this bold, this radical, could possibly get through. And 100 years from now, people will wonder, if Trudeau was never elected, would we have the bargaining chips in place to have built all this awesome shit in the first place? That is a non-negotiable term. Justin Trudeau, if you want a statue in the Disneyland park, you'll get it. But you're going to have to vote for the Disney party. Policy position number 10. The Siksika tribe will get their land rights back and will have decent living accommodations, not slums. We are tearing everything down out there. It is a third world shithole. But they will be expected to do something for us Canadians too. 100 acres of land of the Siksika Reserve will be gifted to the Disney Corporation from our Indigenous chiefs. This plot of land located on prime development territory 1 hour south of Calgary is over 210,000 acres. And it would only require 100-acre plot of land to achieve Disney's vision. That is 0.0476% of their land. If the Indigenous in this country are unwilling to budge, if they throw a temper tantrum over the fact that we, God forbid, build anything here on their sacred holy ground, then no one gets anything I have proposed. Because this is the negotiation budget where everyone will get what they want and need, but will be expected to give something first. And if 0.004% of your land being used to develop on is too much to ask, then don't expect Canada to be worth anything as a country 10 years from now. Policy position number 11. The Disney Party of Canada will work with the City of Calgary to develop the infrastructure from South Calgary out to the reserve, and we will use $300 million United States dollars worth of money for the budget to achieve this. Of that $300 million United States dollars, $150 million will be allocated to building and constructing a minimum of 3 underground terminal stations, 2 in Calgary plus 1 at Siksika, for Elon Musk's Hyperloop design. That will be allocated $50 million towards each underground facility. The City of Calgary will be expected to develop a minimum of 3 with an optional 4th underground terminal station for the rail system. At $50 million per development, they will work with Elon Musk and the Boring Company to survey the land and decide on locations. Policy position number 12. The Disney Party of Canada will work with the Disney Corporation and the City of Calgary to negotiate similar tax incentive structure on the 100-acre plot of land in Siksika as the parks in Florida, Lake Louise, and California will have, because absolutely no one but Florida seems to get it. Why you would want to give Disney a better tax incentive. I've said it a billion times and I will say it again. Every other business within a 300-mile radius of these locations makes money. Canada, if you want to know how to make money, stop telling me to get a job, start funding my ideas. Canada, do you want money or not? Policy position number 13. Policy position number 13. Within the interior of this 100 100-acre plot of land, Disney will invest 60 million. They will invest 60 million United States dollars in building a 60,000 square foot indigenous chief's longhouse. Why 60,000 square feet, you ask? Because that's the size of Bill Gates' house. It will be an authentic indigenous longhouse that will be planned and architected with collaboration of all indigenous tribes across Canada and the Disney Corporation. Once constructed, this authentic longhouse will serve as the home base for all Indigenous in our country. If the government has developed 100% of the infrastructure for government out in Ontario, then Alberta will be building the capital city of our Indigenous. And this longhouse will serve as their base of operations for traditional ceremony, and Canada will amend our relations for good. Any and all grievances of the past over land ownership will end. The authentic longhouse will also serve as an attractive travel destination for tourists to come and experience our Indigenous culture, as this 100-acre plot of land in Siksika Reserve will be developed into the world's largest authentic teepee village. And it will be done using 100% of the specifications designed by our Indigenous. They will get to design it, and Elon will, who's funding this one? Yes, Disney. Disney's funding this one. So Disney's funding the construction, and the Indigenous will be building it. Our park will employ our Indigenous, and they will get paid with Disney revenue to tell their stories all day and night to the guests. By providing employment and economic opportunity for them to earn money instead of buying American trucks with our tax dollars, this will reduce the taxpayer contribution to this failed project. Policy position number 14. The Disney Party of Canada will lower taxes for everyone, and we will actually be able to do it because we have an economy to support it. Policy position number 15. 100 million United States dollars of the federal budget will be allocated for developing the Olds Didsbury Airport into an international airport. This airport has 2 runways currently that can't support commercial aviation. And with the monumentally massive infrastructure tourists from all over this planet will have to come to our province, the YYC airport is not enough infrastructure to support this new business. The Olds Didsbury Airport lies in primal location sitting at the very heart of the Hyperloop system, and it will help alleviate the pressure from the nearby YYC airport, as well as offering airlines new package rates to a new travel destination. Policy position number 16. An additional $200 million will be allocated for expansion at the Edmonton, YEG, and YYC airports in Calgary, as well as their own expansion projects. That's $100 million to each airport. The LAX airport has 161 terminal gates. YYC sits at 71, and Edmonton has 21. So we will need to build more services and terminals at both. Policy position number 17. The town of Olds, Alberta will receive 50 million United States dollars of funding to construct an underground terminal station under the airport for Elon Musk's Hyperloop system, and they will work with Elon to survey the land and find a location to construct. Policy position number 18. The community of Red Deer, Alberta will receive 50 million United States dollars of funding to construct an underground terminal station under the airport for Elon Musk's Hyperloop system, and they will work with Elon to survey the land and find a location to construct. Policy position number 19. The city of Edmonton will receive 200 million United States dollars of infrastructure and development projects, and they will be expected to contribute 50 million of that, funding the construction of 1 Hyperloop underground terminal station. They will work with Elon and the Boring Company to survey the land and will find a location to build. Policy position number 20. The town of St. Paul, Alberta will receive 50 million United States dollars of funding for infrastructure, and they will construct one underground Hyperloop terminal with the help of Elon Musk's Boring Company. They will work with Elon to survey the land and find a location to dig. Policy position number 21. The town of Lake Louise will receive 200 million United States dollars to bolster the infrastructure in and around the area. They will be expected to contribute 50 million United States dollars of that to fund the Hyperloop project, and the terminal station will be constructed under the parking lot of their property. Once rail has been built leading from YYC out to the ski resort, it will allow citizens of Calgary to contribute to the entire ski resort economy of the area, but without having to travel hours and hours across dangerous mountain terrain. Policy position number 22. The community of Banff, Alberta will receive $100 million in funding for infrastructure, and they will be expected to spend $50 million of that on their underground Hyperloop terminal built on the eastern side of Banff National Park. This will allow them to develop new hiking trails that could have not been easily accessible before, including the new scenic views at Chickini Lake. And if Parks Canada is unwilling to budge, if they twist themselves up into a pretzel over the idea that we, God forbid, build anything on their sacred holy ground, then no one gets anything at all. Because this is the budget policy where everyone gets what they want and need, but will be required to give something first. Policy position number 23. The community of Radium Hot Springs will receive 50 million United States dollars of funding and will be expected to develop the terminal station of Elon Musk's underground Hyperloop system. They will work with Elon to survey the land and find an optimal location with easy access to the hot springs. Policy position number 24. The community of Fairmont Hot Springs will receive 50 million United States dollars of funding and will be expected to construct an underground terminal station for Elon Musk's Hyperloop system. They will work with Elon to survey the land and will find an optimal location with access to the hot springs. Policy position number 25. The community of Panorama, Alberta will receive 50 million United States dollars and they will be expected to construct a terminal station for Elon Musk's Hyperloop system. They will work with Elon to survey the land and will find an optimal location with respect to the gondola infrastructure they already have. You don't have to build a gondola, they already have one. But it's not making money. Policy position number 26. The community of Drumheller, Alberta will receive 50 million United States dollars of funding and they will be expected to construct Elon Musk's underground Hyperloop terminal station. They will survey the land to the south of the river that runs past the Royal Tyrrell Museum, and they will construct there. And the reason they'll construct there is because that river will be serviced with ferries across there. So, policy position number 27. The city of Medicine Hat will receive 50 million United States dollars of funding and they will be expected to construct one underground Hyperloop terminal station. They will survey the land near the airport as there is a massive 5-story tall steel teepee nearby. Policy position number 28. The community of Cypress Hills will receive 50 million United States dollars worth of funding and they will be expected to construct one underground Hyperloop terminal station for Elon Musk's transit system. Policy position number 29. The community of Fort Macleod will receive 50 million United States dollars of funding for infrastructure and they will be expected to construct an underground terminal station for the Hyperloop system. They will work with Elon Musk to survey the land near the fort and the museum. They will find a location to dig near the fort that will provide easy access to this tourist destination. Policy position number 30. The town of Fernie, BC will receive $50 million of United States funding and they will be expected to construct an underground Hyperloop terminal that connects to their ski resort. Policy position number 31. The city of Lethbridge will receive 150 million United States dollars of funding and they will be expected to construct the US-Canada Customs and Border infrastructure. They will spend $100 million of the budget on the underground terminal station and the remaining $50 million for the border and enforcement offices. Policy position number 32. The Disney Party of Canada will negotiate trade deals with Donald Trump that actually have value proposition, not handouts baked in. Absolutely no one seems to be paying attention at all to anything in this country because of Trump derangement syndrome and the orange man is bad. Well, the Orange Man is positioning America for monumentally massive infrastructure development up in Alaska. The reason these ideas of mine will actually win us this trade war is because Mr. Trump is going to have to truck the supplies for his projects starting in Seattle 40 hours up dangerous mountain terrain through our country for his projects. And or burn a ridiculous amount of jet fuel flying materials out to Anchorage, Alaska. An underground rail system that connects Lethbridge to Drumheller to St. Albert in just 47 minutes of travel time from the bottom of the province to the top means that the rail line connected through Montana will allow America to transport materials up north in a matter of hours, not days. But this is the negotiation budget policy, where everyone gets what they want and need, but will be asked to do something for us first. All punitive tariffs placed upon the country of Canada, as well as every other nation on earth, will be dropped immediately. That is a non-negotiable term. Because Canada isn't doing this just for us. We are doing this for the entire world, and we have value proposition for the entire world baked in. Mr. Trump will be asked and expected to play nice with the Disney Corporation, a God forbid woke company. Or no one gets anything at all on this list. And the Disney company will be expected to give Canadians what we want and need, or Trump will be required to issue executive orders against them if they're standing in our way to achieve the most ambitious project ever taken between our two great nations. The Disney Party of Canada pledges to America that we will bolster our military defense budget up north and secure the northern border, since he asked so nicely. Currently, the military received $80 billion Canadian, and we all know where that money's going. Does the RCAF know what the ROI, that is return on investment, of $80 billion worth of American-produced warplanes gets for our citizens? Is the return on investment measured in dollars per hour or body bags per minute? That $80 billion investment is not an investment if it does not generate revenue. Holy shit, why is this difficult? And there is no point in investing in defense spending if there's nothing worth defending. News hint, no one has ever invaded Venezuela. Why? Because it's worthless. And we will be like them too if we don't implement this policy. Policy position number 33. My country has made it illegal for me to conduct business. I've been working on these ideas since last Christmas for a solution to Canada's economic problems. But anytime I tried discussing this previously with fellow citizens, I ended up incarcerated in a hospital, with 3 police officers sitting on my face, injecting needles of shit into my arm. Because up here in Canada, people have been so brainwashed by our leadership as to believe that legitimate business proposals are signs of schizophrenic delusions of grandeur. If my delusional fantasies to build the world's most advanced transportation system and fulfill on Walt Disney's original vision of Epcot gets my freedoms taken away, my rights stripped, and a ride to the hospital in handcuffs, then I will take my business ideas and proposals to a country that actually funds innovation and cool shit like America. We have no game studios in Alberta anymore after BioWare Edmonton shut down earlier this year. None. And hundreds, if not thousands, of unemployed coders who can't get work anywhere and are working remotely for US-based game studios. Given that EA just got a $55 billion worth of funding, money that was purchased from private investment out in the Middle East, including money from the Trump personal family, they may consider building more game studios here if we had a Disneyland nearby, but they won't build anything at all if we're a failed communist nation of retards. If game studios in Alberta if game developers in Alberta wonder why there's never been a game studio here, it's because we don't have a Disneyland park within a 300-mile radius nearby. EA Studios in Vancouver will leave, and they will pull 3,000 citizens into the failing food banks. Why will they leave? Because Canada will just creep in increasing the taxes on this American business until they say, fuck it, we're done. I don't want to run a country. I don't want to run this country. I don't want to be your prime minister. I want to make games, but I'm not legally allowed to take a profit in this country that retains more than 51% of the value of the product that I have been producing. If I'm putting in 100% of the effort to make this shit, but I'm only getting 37% of the revenue after taxes and fees and deductions, then that means I'm being stolen from and robbed. I'm not actually the CEO. I don't have 51% ownership of my business. This would make sense if Canadians could do math, but they can't. They're allergic. The government makes the money from my hard work. Has anyone read Atlas Shrugged before? Who is John Galt? Therefore, if these ideas and policies do not get implemented at the federal level, then I will do everything in my power to get Albertans on board. And next year we will all vote to leave Confederation and join America as their 51st state. We will build rail lines through Alberta up to Alaska and down to Montana and cut the rest of Canada out. Canadians, do you think this is funny or a joke? I just solved the problem of you can't leave. You're landlocked. Ha 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 ha. We don't need to transport shit out to the coast on the east or the west. We'll transport it underground using a, God forbid, American man's innovation, because we don't innovate anything up here anymore. And you'd know that if you listen to the former CEO of BlackBerry, a company that used to innovate shit in Canada. He sat in front of 900 Canadians in May and told us that we were facing economic decline for the next 50 years. He said, would you rather sell $5 worth of resources, and I quote, he said $5 worth of resources or $1,000 worth of product. And right now every last politician in this bloody country is talking about minerals and oil and trees. Resources! Every country on earth has trees and oil. America gets their oil from the Middle East. They don't want to buy it from us. Why can't anyone see this? This is ridiculous. Policy position number 34. Should the budget from the Disney Party of Canada fail, and Alberta, for God knows for whatever reason, vote no on these ideas to build Alberta, I will apply for legitimate asylum claim to move to the United States of America. I will take the ideas for this Epcot project down to Elon Musk and we'll build it out in Texas. And we will build the infrastructure there. America will build rail from Great Falls, Montana, under Canada and up to Alaska. And we'll cut all of Canada out. Because Canada doesn't invest in innovation, only more government. There won't be shit Canada can do to stop the project. Because Canada isn't a real country anymore. Policy position number 35. This is a non-negotiable term. It will be implemented or no one gets anything on the list. The RCMP will open a joint investigation with the FBI into Jason Grant, an Ontario-based citizen who in 2022 smuggled psilocybin across state lines into Oklahoma, which was very likely, I can't prove it, hello investigation hashtag, it was very likely used to drug rape a woman whose entire family was destroyed. She then fled illegally into our country to live with him. This Canadian man has been a thorn in the side of people all over this planet. He is one of the most notorious sex criminals we have in our country. And given that the police of Canada are pushing, or the policies of Canada are pushing rapidly towards legalizing pedophilia, the entire world needs to be asking, what the fuck are we doing up here? What in the hell are we doing in Canada? United States citizens who work in law enforcement ran an underground investigation into this man. They provided evidence that he used the voice of a 14-year-old girl to produce animated sex porn, and that evidence was presented to RCMP offices in his hometown. They already had him on file and described to me over the phone in explicit detail that they had the evidence, so I knew exactly what they had because they described it in explicit detail over the phone why using children to sell sex content was not actually illegal. The Disney Party of Canada therefore pledges to fix our drug problem by giving people fun shit to do. Policy position number 36. This is a non-negotiable term. It will be implemented or no one gets anything on this list. The FBI will reopen their investigation into the financial crimes of Steven Neroff, a New York-based lawyer who claims to be the CEO of 50-plus startups, and every last one of them are crypto scams. Elon runs like 6 companies at most. This guy thinks he runs 50. The FBI opened an investigation in 2019 after he extorted $10 million worth of Ethereum from a Seattle-based startup. The FBI investigated this man and let him off on the hook. The new investigation will include looking into Cloud Park Inc., as this man is the reason I'm homeless in the first place, and I can tell the FBI shit they never heard before. That is Canada's big ask to America, because this man ran illegally operated businesses in Canada that harmed our citizens. Policy position number 37. This is a non-negotiable term. It will be implemented or no one gets anything on this list. The FBI will open a joint investigation with the RCMP into Ron McDowell and Kyle Polulak, 2 United States citizens who signed legally binding documents in agreement with a game developer in Croatia in 2017 to share in the profit, and they retained all 100% of the proceeds of the game he made. Therefore, the Disney Party of Canada will negotiate with Trump to set legal policy for the protection of financial crimes that actually makes sense for a modern world. The reason justice was never served, even though the crime was extensively documented, is because the United States justice system dictates that all legal action against Americans take place physically in their courts. If citizens all across this planet working remotely for countries based in America have no legal protection at all from your citizens financially being fucked, then no one gets anything at all. I couldn't protect myself against Neroff because I don't live in New York, and airplanes are ridiculously expensive out to New York City. I need to fly there and sue him there. The man in Croatia got no justice because he makes an average of $500 a year. You think he can fly to America to sue these assholes? If victims of financial crimes require money to fund their rights, it's likely the financial crime is the reason they can't prosecute people. Just saying. That is Canada's big ask of Mr. Trump. Or Croatia will have new leverage in their tariff negotiations because that money could have been money that went into their economy if legal documents actually meant shit at all. They signed legally binding documents and they sent this man in Croatia nothing. Policy position number 38. The Disney Party of Canada pledges to Canadians that after the construction of this infrastructure project, we will have the most advanced mail system delivery on Earth. It will take hours to receive a package, not weeks or days. Rail delivery lines will be constructed within the interior pipes of these tunnels to support the entire nation. And Canada Post won't be on strike every 6 months against our government, making it impossible to conduct business. Policy position number 39. Canada will invest $75 million into the construction of the world's first ever UFO museum, located in the town of St. Paul, Alberta. Why? Because we already have the world's first UFO landing pad, a tourist destination that Albertans don't even know exists. Because it's a ridiculously far away. We don't go up there very often. Do Albertans know about this place? The world's first UFO landing pad. It's right here in our province. The reason it was constructed, gosh, I know history, God forbid we learn anything about history. The reason it was constructed in the first place is because Wilbert Brockhouse Smith, the man who opened the 1950 Transport Canada investigation into UFOs, was born in Lethbridge, Alberta. And the former mayor of the town, Mayor Jules Van Brabant, developed the tourist attraction which opened in the 60s. But it doesn't generate any revenue for our province. There exist alien and UFO exhibits and museums all across America. I went down to Roswell. It was like a block party for 3 days. Canada has our own UFO stories that don't get talked about. Disney will benefit from the project because they can recuperate the losses they had on Elio, a movie that flopped at the box office, by offering Elio-themed attractions in the UFO and Alien Town. George Knapp, a God forbid American journalist, sat in front of Congress and presented information to the president that Russia has been investigating this shit seriously since the 80s. While both Canada and America have spent the last 80 years making movies that mock extraterrestrials and aliens, therefore the UFO Museum will serve as a home base of operations for MUFON's all-new base headquarters in Canada. If Hellfire missiles can't take out a UFO and the Russians and Chinese have figured it out, we are all fucked here in the West. Therefore, Canada will work with MUFON to develop an all-new, state-of-the-art educational program that will offer the world's first certification in UFO studies. And it will be developed using a program that was ideated at two separate, God forbid, Canadian schools. They will also provide strategic location from which to launch an investigation into the North, should conspiracies hold weight. They can get to the bottom of what, if anything, exists under the northern ice sheets. Policy position number 40. The Disney Party of Canada will invest $1 million United States dollars in building all new state-of-the-art Anytime Fitness gym in the town of Didsbury, Alberta. A, God forbid, American company. They will give them the additional location within their franchise with prime real estate located near the old Didsbury International Airport, a 10-minute drive away. Why in Didsbury? Because the woman who used to operate the gym here in town for over 20 years went under. During what event caused her gym to go under? Does anyone in the room have any guess at all? COVID-19. So now, if you're wondering why we're bankrupt, maybe you should go back like 4 years and look at some of my old videos. Because I was trying to tell Canadians we're on this path back then, and they weren't listening either. So you can go back to 2019, and you can go back to 2020, and you can go back to 2021, and you can listen to everything that I've ever said on this channel, and you'll say, holy shit, this guy was trying to tell us the truth the whole time, and we were all stupid. And the immigrant workers who operate the gym here now, he doesn't actually live here. He commutes 2 hours each day from Calgary. An hour in and an hour back. Because I was financially fucked, once again, by his business, I haven't been to the gym in over a year. Danielle Smith, if you want to fix our healthcare system, we need to be building more gyms in this province, not pipelines. I haven't been to the gym in a year. There is a monopoly on towns in this gym. And if you can't figure out why that's a bad thing, then holy hell are we fucked. Policy position number 41. The Disney Party of Canada will end any and all subsidization of immigrant workers. This is the reason our citizens are unemployed and starving. We are idiots in this nation, and America is laughing at us. While their businesses are prospering and our nation goes bankrupt, we are choosing of our own goddamn stupidity to fund the operational expenses of Walmart. Why on God's green earth are the Canadian taxpayers subsidizing Walmart, the most profitable company of many on earth? Anyone with 2 brain cells capable of mathematics can put 2 and 2 together, but Canadians can't do that. They are allergic to math. If Walmart wants to hire exclusively and only immigrant workers, it means the cost of the English language training that we are paying for with taxpayer dollars. This isn't rocket science, people. It would be an operational expense to them, running their business the way they choose. Like, duh, of course America would take advantage of it. It's free money to them. We're just giving it to them. Liberals are not going to want to hear that at all, but they will need to explain to Canadians what the ROI, that is return on investment, oh my God, God forbid we do math again, or learn anything at all. Liberals are not going to want to hear this. But they will need to explain to Canadians what the ROI, or return on investment, is of helping an American business. How does that grow Canada? Policy position number 42. The Liberals will receive $3 billion worth of funding to develop over the next 5 years an all-new state-of-the-art training and educational program for our citizens. This program will include both English and French training programs. Scores on tests will determine unemployment opportunities. If you can't speak English clearly enough for citizens to understand you, then it's no wonder our citizens are not supporting the restaurants and bars anymore. We don't want every single interaction to sound like an Indian scam call. Test scores can be improved at any point in the future, granting new opportunities for immigrant workers. But so long as you currently are unable to understand the language, you will not work in the service sector, because it's the service sector that's failing. It's called service, not harassment. And when you wonder why the businesses are failing, because an unemployed homeless man identified this 6 months ago that our budget was doomed to fail. And while the rest of Canada has been saying, let the politicians do their job and just focus on your own thing, I'm a fucking homeless man who can write a better budget than the former manager of a bank. The whole world has a problem with corruption and money. Therefore, the Disney Party of Canada will negotiate in trade talks with America to crack down on foreign offshore investment fraud. Even if this impacts his own personal finances. Because Mr. Trump won't get his high-speed rail up north and his northern border and his military defense budget up north. He won't get that unless he gives us all this. He'll have to accept that if he has offshore bank accounts too, he's going to lose something too. This is the negotiation budget where everyone gets what they want and need, but are required to give something first. Policy position number 43. The new educational training program will include programs that cover potty training. I'm not fucking joking. Potty training. Because Canadians are tired of seeing feces in public. If we are to live amongst wild animals literally, then we need to domesticate them first. I don't care if that's insulting to you. Too bad. These are my ideas. Suck it up, princess. This is the negotiation budget, where everyone gets what they want, but are required to give something first. Policy position number 44. Once developed, Canada will offer the world's very first training school in disaster and humanitarian relief worldwide. Immigrants moving to our great nation will be required legally to enroll in this program upon entering our country, or they will be sent back home. Tough freaking love. Because what the Canadian citizens will do for the world, if the world got behind our proposals of the Disney Party, is to offer worldwide humanitarian and disaster relief in every nation. They will be professionally trained experts, capable of both CPR and basic first aid, with options for lifeguard training too. Because Canada's #1 export. Does anyone in this country know what our #1 export to the world is? It's obviously not resources, because Carney can't get a deal with anyone. Guess what? They have trees too. Canada's #1 export to this planet is not product, it's people. We are there for every nation on Earth whenever there's an earthquake or a flood happens, and if Canada goes bankrupt, the entire planet is going to lose that support structure. Because Canadians do this for free. We do it out of the generosity of our own hearts. It's mostly volunteers and taxpayer money, but taxpayer money should not be funding humanitarian aid relief worldwide when humanitarian aid relief is a $1 trillion economic opportunity for this country. Once trained, these immigrant workers will be granted full Canadian citizenship, but here's the catch. Here's the catch. You want to come to Canada, we'll give you citizenship. They will not live in our houses, because there's not enough of them available for us. These professionally trained disaster relief experts will then be sent back to help and develop their own countries back home, so that the planet doesn't have to go to war over land and resources and who gets into America and who gets kicked out. And I don't care if that upsets immigrants, because this is the balanced budget that gives everyone what they need and want, but will be required to give something first. Carney will get his 100 million citizens of Canada, because Canada will be a nation of people who live anywhere, helping others. But it won't collapse our housing market or economy, because we don't need 60 million more people. If you can do math, we have 40 now. He told us he wants to get to 100. That means you need to increase 60 million more immigrants into the country. We don't need 60 million people applying for jobs at Walmart. The WEF will get their own one world government, but it won't be a dystopian hellhole, because that one world government will be the Canadian citizens offering disaster relief worldwide. And if that goes against anything they've been planning for the last 40 years, too freaking bad! This is the budget policy that gets everyone on the planet what they need, and it's balanced, but you're going to have to give something first. Policy position number 45. The educational training program that the Liberals, will create for this country must necessarily include educations on the Christian faith. And they are not going to want to do that. Hashtag Bible thumper, hashtag mega. But this is the trade negotiations where everyone gets what they want and need, but are required to give something first. The program will include respect to the Muslim faith, and it will help bridge the gap between our two faiths, as the Quran has more references to Jesus, so perhaps Christians can actually learn something from Muslims than the Bible. There's more references to Jesus in the Quran than the Bible. It will be education, not re-education. This will not be beaten or forced upon anyone the way the Catholic Church went about it in the past. They will learn the values of the faith and the certain boundaries and where they lie and what boundary lines should not be crossed. This will allow a peaceful transition into a society where respecting and maintaining and allowing them to practice their faith of choice. Policy position number 46. The Disney Party of Canada will invest 100 million United States dollars in supporting the infrastructure of the Alberta Children's Hospital in Calgary, Alberta, with a matched $100 million of investment from Disney. Why? Because Disney already owned this chunk of land in Calgary in the 90s. It was acquired by Disney for a project that they had planned, a Disney-branded construction project in the province of Alberta, done at a smaller scale that never got started. Likely because of government regulation. Had a Disney attraction been built in the city of Calgary in the 90s, would we be facing the past 30 years of financial hardship in this country and this province? Therefore, the Disney Party of Canada will use the full 200 million United States dollars worth of funding, converting the hospital into the world's very first mega hospital. And with central location to Calgary, this mega hospital, which will be designed in collaboration with the Alberta Health Services, the province of Alberta, and Elon Musk's innovation, this mega hospital will service all the local attractions around, allowing ski resort accident victims in the Rockies to be rushed into Calgary without the use of the STARS helicopter, and they will arrive through the tunnel system in minutes, not hours, to the hospital. But the Alberta Health Services won't get that, and Elon Musk won't have his mega hospital unless I get something too. This negotiation budget, where everyone gets what they want, but they are required to give something first. Therefore, the Alberta Health Services will open a joint investigation with the FBI into the man that abused me while I was under his care, incarcerated in the hospital. Because I've been at war my entire life with this government-funded organization, and nobody is listening. This man was previously investigated by our RCMP in 2008 after a woman who was entrusted into his care in 2004 killed herself in 2006. And the courts determined that's just fine. He can continue practicing medicine. This man is an Iranian war veteran. He should not be working in a hospital helping people. He's clearly not helping people. I watched him abuse others too. This man is an Iranian war veteran. He needs a retirement home. So, if seeking treatment for mental health issues in this country causes more trauma, if doctors in this country think moonshot development projects with legitimate business proposals are signs of schizophrenic delusions of grandeur, then we don't have a healthcare system at all. Because I've spent my entire life stuck on this side of the border watching America develop big ideas and innovation while Canada thinks it's crazy talk. It is illegal in the country of Canada to innovate anything at all. Given that the Alberta Health Services is the #1 employer for tech workers in our province, but they're not innovating cool shit, they will work with Elon in planning and developing the world's most sophisticated modern hospital, the Mega Hospital. And these terms are non-negotiable. Policy position number 47. The Disney Party of Canada proposes the Disney Corporation invest $10 million into Nakiska, $20 million into Sunshine Village, $5 million into Norquay, $1 million into Golden Nordic, $1 million into Cypress Hills, $10 million into Fernie, and $1 million... Sorry, I put that on there twice. Also, I'll revise that later. We will amend the budget to include any or all ski resorts not mentioned on this list. These are the major ones, and I am probably not aware of every single one. As these ski resorts in and around the area will be easily accessible through Elon's tunnel system, allowing guests to travel between numerous locations in a single day. Sunshine Village will be expected to use that $20 million investment to construct new gondola systems that support only the flow of supplies and staff, because they are using the same gondola system as their patrons to move supplies. Because the workers are moving through the same gondola system as the patrons of this ski resort, it's clogging up the line and leading to longer wait times for the guest. And why a gondola system would be important to the Disney Corporation is something Canadians would get if you understood one singular thing about why I love America in business. Holy shit, this is impossible. Does anyone at all know anything about Epcot? You think the gondola system in Florida is impressive? You haven't seen shit. Have Americans ever been out here once in their life? A random survey of Americans was conducted for this study, and of all participants asked, 0% have ever vacationed in our country. Because, and I quote, "Why come to Canada? We have everything we need right here. Disney, Universal, Legoland. We have everything! We're America!" Therefore, the Sunshine Village Ski Resort will gift the primary gondola system to the Disney Corporation for their use. And Disney will offer patrons a scenic 40-minute gondola ride down the mountain with the most breathtaking scenic views anywhere on Earth, including 2 90-degree turns halfway through the track. The gondola will be built into the transportation system overall and be accessible by everyone. The base station at the top of the mountain will be converted into a new ticket office with a gate, allowing Sunshine Village to manage the flow of skiers and non-skiers in the gondola system, so that this will not infringe upon their own business operations. The currently existing ski resorts will be bolstered first, and not to impact employment on the current workers. And timing and opening of the Disney theme park in Lake Louise will be negotiated between the surrounding ski resorts in the area and Disney. Policy position number 48. The Disney Party will allocate a $25 million United States dollar budget to this project over the next 5 years. They will invest $25 million over 5 years into VaynerMedia.com. And Gary Vaynerchuk will create a worldwide marketing campaign to support this movement. Why would we do business with a, God forbid, American businessman? Because he is the one who told us to do this in the first place. Ha ha ha. And Canada will offer Gary V a 1,000% return on his investment. As this American businessman sat in front of an audience of 900 plus people in May and gifted 25,000 United States dollars worth of books to us for free. And Canadians are allergic to math. I calculated that number in my head. It took 3 seconds. Maybe you should let the homeless guy run the budget this year. Canada, wake up. This is how ridiculously wealthy America is. That an American businessman can just give away $25,000 of books to people and it's a blip on his radar. Canadians lose $500 and they lose their freaking mind. Gary Vee will be expected to create for the Disney Corporation the new website for the Canada Disneyland project. And while Jody Gonjek, the The former failed mayor of Calgary may have failed our city. We will erect a statue in her honor inside our Disneyland park because this woman's incredible insight into organizing a technology and innovation conference in her city in advance to Trump's trade wars meant that Canada's economic conference transpired just 4 months after the trade wars started when Trump took action. This conference was in May, and this started at the beginning of the year. And the keynote speaker for this conference was a God forbid American businessman. I was the only one in the entire room who seemed to find that odd. You don't think the FBI knew? This man is worth billions. Americans, let him come up here. You don't think it's weird that an American businessman was let into our country while we're at trade wars with them? He's worth billions. You don't think the FBI knew? Because it is illegal to do business in my country. I got incarcerated in a hospital for trying to point that out to Canadians back in May. Tax the rich folk are not going to like spending 25 million US dollars on a, God forbid, billionaire. But the whole world has this man to thank for why you can all make money on YouTube in the first place. So you're just going to have to suck it up. Does anyone know anything? Does anyone research anything? Does anyone pay attention at all? You need to research the man of Gary Vaynerchuk and YouTube and why those two matter. Because this is the Disney party's balanced budget that gives everyone what they want and need, but will require giving something first. Policy position number 49. If you elect the Disney party this Christmas, Canada will invest 130 million United States dollars into the Canada Day 2026 celebrations for next year. That will be a $10 million budget per province and territory. This will allow the provinces and territories to select 10 cities and 10 communities within their interior, and there will be $1 million per each. So we will invest that money into Canada Day's 2026 celebrations for next year, as well as an additional $10 million of United States funding to the United States government to bolster, LOL, bolster, their own celebrations. Because while Canadians gear up for a bankruptcy, America is gearing up for what is likely to be the world's largest display of fireworks in Guinness record history. Canada, do you want to party with America or do you want to starve? But Canadians aren't willing to budge on anything or hear any of my ideas because they think innovation is illegal and they're allergic to math. Policy position number 50. The Disney Party of Canada is asking that Elizabeth May dissolve her Green Party and be the first cabinet member of our government to jump ship. While the Green Party has spent the past 10 years of irrelevance trying to accomplish anything at all to help the Paris Climate Accords, the Disney Party is the only party with legitimate business plans that use numbers and, God forbid, math, as well as, I'm using the power of AI developed by a, God forbid, American company that innovated it, to calculate. We are using AI to calculate this shit. We will reduce the round-trip travel time across Alberta from 18 hours down to 3.5. Gee, I wonder how many vehicles and how much fucking fuel that'll save. This will allow Canada a strategic position to not only meet but greatly exceed the climate accords. We will be the most green country on earth and we won't have to burn fuel to travel. The infrastructure to support the high-speed rail will bring new opportunities for energy sector in the South, using the power of a, God forbid, American businessman who developed it because he's the only one on earth apparently who's paid to make innovation happen. The Solar City will build the world's largest array of solar panels across southern Alberta because, surprise, science is terrific too. Math and science. Canadians don't get it. Solar panels work under snow. Welcome to the all-new Pirate Party of Canada, soon to be the Disney Party of Canada. If you think this is a joke, you have absolutely no idea what's going on, because the Pirate Party of Canada is a federally regulated party. All it requires is that everyone that had been a part of it in the past jump on board now. We'll convert to the Disney Party and we'll present a budget to Canadians, and we'll have the budget and the books balanced by January. That is my first 50 terms of proposals for the Disney party. Now, if you understand everything that I have outlined, if you actually took all of the time to get through that, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, because I have been talking about it for months, and I feel like I'm screaming at a brick wall. If you've taken the time, however, to go through an hour and 20-minute video to hear every last position and in order, this is where the negotiation starts. I'll link the Discord link in the chat below. You can hop into chat and we can start discussing this immediately. And it will explode into the world's #1 fastest trending hashtag on Twitter. It's going to blow up Elon Musk's servers overnight. If, and only if, you got to do something for me too, because this is the balanced budget that gives you everything that you want, but you are going to have to give something first. I need you to like the video for once in your life. I need you to watch it to the end for once in your life. Maybe go back and watch some of my other shit you clicked off in the past. Listen to what I'm saying. Share it out. Tag it to Elon Musk. And we are telling America this is our plan, or Alberta is being the 51st state. If Canadians all across our nation hear this plan and they get their tizzies in a knot, because holy shit, this guy's a radical crazy man, I'll end up incarcerated again at the hospital and I'll be a political prisoner in this country. It's that bloody freaking simple. It's that simple. I don't want to lead a country. I want to make games. But so long as I cannot retain the profit on the games, there's no point. Who is John Galt?